team, I hope you're all well, guys. Hey, I want to talk to you today about the push-up, and the reason I want to do that is because it is a key movement to our system, and it's a fundamental movement worldwide. No matter what country you go to, there's generally going to be the push-up or a variation of it, no matter where you're training. Now, the problem is with functional movement being, all the craze in the fitness world over the last few years, big gyms and other sort of facilities and that have all started to move towards machines and things like that to keep it fun and cool and interesting for everybody that wants to exercise. But truth be told, a lot of these body movements, the body weight movements, are so functional and so much better for us. I guess that trying to keep things cool and new has sort of led people away from that. Whereas here, obviously, we don't have any machines. Ours is all free weight and body weight movement. So that's why it's a fundamental movement for us. And I want to take you through some of the do's and don'ts with the movement now. So to start with, I'll just get in position. With your hand position, depending on what you want to focus on would be on how wide you go with your grip. The wider you go, the more emphasis on the pecs. The narrower tends to move around towards your triceps here and get your arms more involved. But with a traditional push-up, we just want those hands just outside the chest area, okay? So that's in terms of width. So if I get onto a bit of an angle here for you as well, with the position of your hands, we want them directly underneath your shoulder, and that protects your shoulder and gets you into a good, steady, stable position. The thing is with your wrist too though, if you have wrist problems, the best thing you can do is move to a neutral grip up onto your knuckles. So you might see some people, and I'm one of them, that I'll do them on my knuckles the majority of the time because I like that. I want to strengthen the wrist position there, in that neutral spot. I find it a lot safer. So anyway, that's the two grips you can do with your hands, but the same rule applies, that it's directly underneath your shoulder. From here, we want to extend the feet back, and we want to put them together, okay? Feet together makes you into a nice straight line, and it makes you a little less stable, so that you need to really work your core muscles for this movement. Again, with the hips as well, we want to make sure that they're nice and straight with the rest of our body. And the eye position is about 40 centimeters out from your hands, where it's going to make your neck nice and in line with the rest of your spine. Okay, so here's a move. I'm going to go through it now from here, all the way down, a couple of inches off the ground, elbows going back at a 45-degree angle. Okay, we want to form the tip of a spear. Okay, so if you picture the spear, the head's the tip, we want those elbows going back at a 45-degree angle or just outside our body. Okay, we do military push-up too, which, the elbows are tucked right into the body. Again, it's just a different variation. So with that too, a couple of things that we see that we don't want to see is with the elbows, I'll come front on, is we'll see in a push-up that the elbows will extend out to the side, okay? This here is putting a lot of strain, not only on the elbow and wrist joints, but also your shoulder, okay? So that's why that elbow's tracking on that 45 is so important. The neck position, a lot of time once you start to do a few reps, you'll start to get that hanging head, okay? And that forces your neck into a poor position and a poor posture. So that's why we want to have you out, looking out on that sort of 40 centimeter mark to keep you nice and straight. The next thing is the hips. So what we can see is driving down with the hips, okay? So we've got that sag, or our bum is up in the air as we do a push-up as well. Again, it's a different variation with the bum up, but it tends to cause caving through the upper back. So we get that extension through the back, which again leads to other issues like the elbows popping out. Okay, and then lastly, I guess it's going to do with the range of the movement. So from here, we don't want to be coming down a little bit here. We want to get all the way down, a couple of inches off the ground to perform that good rep. I'm just going to do 3 good reps for you now. Okay, and the last thing I want to touch on is reaching through the top of that movement. So in a lot of our warm-ups with our dead bugs and breathing exercises, with our chimp crawls, you'll see that we get that reach and we get you to really push your scapula, your shoulder blades apart at the top. We really want that reach because what it does is it coaches your scapula to slide across your kyphotic area, your upper back, your thoracic in the right direction, and it strengthens your serratus here as well, which helps move the shoulder blade. So it's a couple of key points is just to make sure you get that full extension at the top and that little bit of movement across your shoulder blades. So guys, that's the push-up, basic movement. You can do all that from your knees as well, but the same rules apply in terms of body position and your wrist and shoulder position. So team, I'm going to come back to you tomorrow with some of the variations that we see around the world.